Let's do this week's edition of Who's In, Who's Out. These are the 12 teams we think are going to make the NFL playoffs. 6 AFC, 6 NFC. After 9 weeks is the sample size. Let's roll. All right, AFC, everybody going Pates? Pats?
I'm going Pats, not Pates.
I will go Patriots this week.
You're going. In the North, anybody off of Baltimore?
That's a negative, Ghost Rider.
I will go Baltimore this week.
All right. They've won 4 straight. Pittsburgh's won 3 in a row. They've closed the gap to 2 games.
Got my eyes
in the North. In the South, we've got Houston's won 2, Indy lost. Houston's played 1 extra game. It looks like, all 4 teams are still involved. You got 6-3, a 5-3, a 4-5, and a 4-5.
I'm going Colts. I've had the Colts. Texans have played 1 more game. The Colts have beat them head-to-head. They play again in 2 weeks. So until that matchup and the records change, I like the Colts to win this division.
I've had the Texans from the beginning, and I think that they're really hitting their stride. So, if you remember, I kept saying when they had a little rocky start, they just have so many new pieces. I think they need to just play and figure it out, and they're starting to do that.
You got to give them credit. No Clowney, they traded him, and now Watt is out.
Yep.
So you wonder what that means for their defense, which is still pretty good. I like Houston because I like Watson, and
he's a winner.
It's tough to pick against him the way he's playing right now. In the West, Kansas City.
Still got KC. They've been my pick all along, and I don't see them losing it.
I got Chiefs, not the Raiders.
My goodness.
There is a third
Don't
team
scare me.
emerging in the West. We'll see if anybody picks them for their wild card teams. 2 wild card teams. Geoff Mosher, who do you got?
I have the Indianapolis Colts, and reluctantly still hanging in there with the Bills, but I got my eye on them Steelers. Got my eye on them.
All right, that was pretty creepy. I have the Bills as well, reluctantly, and I also have the Texans.
Interesting. Got to keep my eye on the Chargers because here they do the Chargers thing again.
They are doing the Chargers
They're doing
thing.
the Chargers thing again. They've won 2 in a row, but I'm going Colts, and I'm sticking with Jacksonville. Nick Foles has been announced the starter. He'll be back after their bye, so I think Foles does what he does and gets Jacksonville to the playoffs.
All right.
So very weak AFC field. Although Buffalo 6-2, Pittsburgh 4-4. Jacksonville, Tennessee 4-5, Raiders 4-4, Chargers 4-5. Everybody is kind of in that mix. All right, let's go to the NFC. In the East, who you got?
I still have the Cowboys. I switched to them last week, and they win last night. The Eagles need to do a little bit more for me before I crown them. So Cowboys are my pick. Geoff?
I've been wrestling with this.
Okay.
Just not impressed with either team, the Cowboys or the Eagles. But I've had the Eagles from the start. Fly, Eagles, fly. Oh, wait, did I change to the Cowboys after they beat them?
I think you did, man.
I did, you're right. So I guess I can't change it now, the Cowboys. The Eagles have to earn it back.
Wow.
So Cowboys.
What a great explanation.
Well, you flipped it, right?
I did. Well, I mistakenly flipped it before this segment. I should go back to what I had, which was the Cowboys last week.
I got Dallas. Hanging in there with Dallas. I thought they didn't look great last night, but
no,
they got the job done. Made plays when they had to.
They did.
In the North, I'm sticking with Minnesota. Everybody lost last week in this division. I like Minnesota's defense better than I like Green Bay's defense.
Minnesota, I still have Go Pack Go.
Skol!
Ew.
Skol! Skol! Vikings, baby.
You'd fit in well doing that.
Yeah, we'll get you a purple jersey next week.
I feel like they'd be like, dude, just go back to Philly.
Your boy Scott, when we go to Cape May, is going to bring you a purple jersey now.
And a nice
Who
hot
knows
coffee
what he'll bring.
or a hot chocolate. That would be nice.
That's right.
Did he call the
You
Chandler
don't
and May
know.
show today? Somebody
didn't
from
hear him.
Cape May, I think, and it sounded just like him. I thought it was. Maybe he
Josh
was disguising
confirms.
the name, but it sounded just like him.
No.
All right. I don't know.
All right, let's go to the South. We've got Saints 7-1, Panthers 5-3. Anybody?
Not me, sir. Panthers, good for them. Kyle Allen's a real nice story. They're playing well.
Cam Newton out for the year. IR.
There you go. That was my next sentence. And the Saints are just going to pull away. I've been really high on them since day one. They're 7-1. Sticking with them.
I'm not like, and I have the Saints, but I'm not like fearful of the Saints.
I agree with you on that. They're really impressive, and yet
They've only scored 195 points.
Scary at the same time.
You know,
exactly.
Carolina and Tampa have outscored them. Their defense is pretty darn good, though.
That'll be an interesting, like, if the Eagles can.
So who scares you guys real quick in the NFC? One team.
San Francisco.
Okay.
Oh, I think the Packers are still scary even after the loss. Seattle is always scary,
Yes.
especially at home.
Very.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's some scary teams.
Oddly, Seattle's 3-2 at home, 4-0 on the road.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is
So
true.
Russell Wilson.
All right, let's go to the West. Who do you like? Geoff Mosher.
I like the San Francisco 49ers. So eat it, Richard Sherman.
Welcome.
Yeah, I had him last week too. That was my first week I put him in.
Yeah, I'm not crossing over to the dark side just yet. I love the Seattle Seahawks this year. I think Russell Wilson, as of now, is the MVP, and they're my pick. 49ers are great, obviously playing very well undefeated, but I think Seattle's going to steal it from them late in the year, boys.
Okay. I got San Francisco. You know they've only given up 102 points.
Is that good? Asking for a
New
friend.
England has given up 98. So
That's
they're closing the gap on them. Yeah, I like San Francisco. By the way, San Francisco plays Seattle this week. And we had that game on 97.3 ESPN. What's that? The Monday Night Football game this week, I think.
It is.
Oh, that's finally a good Monday night game.
Finally.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah, I read an article about Monday night. They got a good stretch of games to close out their schedule. They're pretty psyched up about. All right, 2 wild cards. Ryan, who you got?
Minnesota, I'm gaining my, appreciation. It's a bad word.
Welcome aboard,
for
fella.
Minnesota every week. I think they can make it to South Beach for the Super Bowl. I really do. So I have them in the wild card, and I also have the Niners, of course. Can't leave them out.
I got Goal Pack Go, Aaron Rodgers, man, and the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahags.
I got Green Bay and the Seahawks, too, as my wild cards, which means out are Philadelphia, and everybody knows Giants, Redskins,
Rams
Detroit out, Bears are out,
LA.
Carolina 5-3 out,
Rams.
Tampa out, Atlanta out, Rams, everybody has them out, and Arizona 3-5-1 out.
I had the Rams out at the beginning of the year, and y'all
You
looked
did.
at me like, what
You
are
did.
you, insane?
Well, we left.
That
we
division.
we talked about this yesterday, though. The Rams are kind of like, hey, no one's talking about us. They've won 2 in a row.
Yeah.
They're only, they're right there in the
They
wild
could be
card
right
race.
back in there next week.
Yeah, they're
I
creeping
will
around.
say this: everybody is counting an East wild card out, and I felt like we did this last year, and the Eagles ended up getting the wild card. I think the Eagles still can be a wild. Like everyone's, they can't be the
agree.
wild card.
Really? Who? Well, what team do you
Well,
think could
about
drop
it.
off?
Like, if you have the Packers or the Seahawks, right, as wild card teams, like I do, and a lot of people think,
Yep.
well, the Eagles already beat the Packers, and they certainly can beat the Seahawks in a few weeks at home. So if they win that game, the only team that they would be contending for with a wild card
They're only
might be
one game out of the
Minnesota.
6th spot.
Yeah, they're 2 behind Green Bay. So Green Bay needs to drop a
But
few.
Green Bay's a division leader right now.
Well,
The 2 wild card spots, they're only 1 game behind. Now, Minnesota beat them head to head.
That's
Correct.
why I'm saying Green
That
Bay.
was
Have
there.
Minnesota win the division. Green Bay drops off. They have the tiebreaker.
Right.
Yeah.
If Green Bay ends up becoming the wild card and you have the same record, you had beat them head to head.
How many wins Green Bay got right now? 7?
7.
They're
And the
7-2 and you're
Eagles
5-4.
5. Yeah, that can be bridged.
Only 2 games, yeah.
Sure.
You're running out of time, but I definitely think that the wild card still has a crack in the window there.
I would like to check out Green Bay's record over the last 5 weeks. I guarantee it's not as easy as the
1,
Eagles.
2, 3, 4, and 1.
No, you're talking about their schedule
No, I'm sorry. I
coming
meant
up.
who they're playing over
So
the
they
last
have
5 weeks.
Carolina
this year.
at the 49ers,
Ooh.
at the Giants, Redskins, Bears, at the Vikings, at Lions.
All right, so it's they got a couple of tough games in there.
Yeah.
Carolina's not easy. The one after Carolina you said?
At San Fran.
San Francisco. That could be a swing.
That's
swing
really
team.
it.
Yeah.
Remember,
Really-
the Cowboys have the Rams. Not
the
the
Vikings.
last week. The second week to last week of the season. That could be a really
Minnesota, real
interesting
quick.
weekend.
Minnesota is at Dallas, Denver, at Seattle, Detroit, at the Chargers, Green Bay, then the Bears.
The Bears.
Got Bears.
All right, that's who's in, who's out for this week's edition. By the way, tomorrow, Fine 5, Ugly 5. You got New England with a loss. You got an undefeated team. Do they move up to number 1? You have a Baltimore team that just beat New England. It was in nobody's 5. Are they going to pop themselves in? Fine
we have a
5,
Miami
Ugly
win.
5 tomorrow. And by the way, yes, the Ugly 5's got to have a shakeup
That's
for many
right.
people.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I've been believing in those Dolphins, by the way. They haven't been my worst team.
That's correct.